Uh, Beautiful morning outside, and I've been out here for quite a long time this morning, and man, birds seem to be happy, and the sun is shining, and that's nice to see, and it's still cool, and I like that, and it's a beautiful day, and every beautiful day, it just reminds me to thank God, and I know that can sound so corny, but it's true. Uh, that we know who to thank for all of this. Thank God that the one who has this kind of beauty in his heart is our Father, and He loves us. And what a beautiful God He is. The Bible, in several different places, describes God as being beautiful and the fairest of 10,000, the most lovely of all. And days like this are just expressions of that awesome beauty that's in His heart. I was my Father. Good morning, Newmans. Good to have you guys joining. Um, so this morning I was in my regularly scheduled reading, the plan that I'm using for myself. I was at Psalm 37, and Psalm 37 is just one of those outstanding psalms. And I first of all, it was just a really cool thing because something. Good morning, Langfords. Uh, Good to have you on, Carol. And last night I was praying about some things, some big things, and praying, and the Lord spoke to me out of His Word. His Word that I'd hidden in my heart, and He reminded me of something He had said in the Word of God. But I didn't know the reference off the top of my head. I knew it was in the Bible, but I didn't know the reference. And so this morning I come to Psalm 37, and lo and behold, it's right there in that psalm. And that's always a neat thing when God reaffirms something like that. But I want to just mention two things to you really quickly today out of this psalm that I think are for anybody, anytime. Um, First of all, in verse 7, we read these words: quiet your heart in God's presence, and pray. Keep hope alive as you long for God to come through for you. Keep hope alive as you long for God to come through for you. What I have found over the years in my own life, and talking to literally hundreds of parishioners and fellow Christians over the years, is that even when we are longing for God to come through, many times we fail to walk in obedience to the first part of that. We long for God to come through, but we don't keep hope alive as we long for God to come through. And the longing turns into a frustration because we feel like it's hopeless. We feel like we're yearning for something that's never going to happen. That's not what hope is. Wishing is what we do more than hoping, unfortunately. Wishing is wanting something, but having no settled sense at all that it's going to happen. When I was a little boy, I used to, and a lot of you, probably all of us joining here this morning, are old enough to remember this. I used to get the Sears wish book, the catalog that they would send out, a couple of months or a few months before Christmas. And I'm telling you what, if I'd studied my Bible when I was 8, like I studied the Sears wish book, wow, how much further up the road would I have been? Because man, I just would go through that and study every toy they had and circle things, and but I had no real assurance at all that I was getting any of it. And the truth of the matter is, my parents didn't have much money. I didn't get very much of it. I always got plenty. I mean, I was not some kid with a lump of coal or something. But I didn't. I never got the full sheriff's outfit with the chaps and the vest and the badge and the hat and the 2 6-shooters and the neck kerchief. I never got that. I wanted it. I never got the big racetrack, with the hand controlled thing. Oh, I wanted it so bad. But I would wish for them, but that was it. Wishing is frustrating. But hoping is different. Hope is an absolute assurance that something is going to occur. The only question is when. And so as you long for God to come through, now please notice what the scripture says. It's up to you. It's up to me to keep hope alive. How do you keep hope alive while you're waiting to see it? You don't know when it's going to happen. You keep hope alive by feeding on, and I believe more and more in my life, by confessing out loud the promises of God. So if I'm, let's say, many times this has happened in my life, I'm praying for financial provision. I need a financial breakthrough, whether it's for me personally, my family, or whether it was for the church I was pastoring, many times. Okay, God promises that over and over that He will provide. So, as we prayed, as I longed to see God break through, I increasingly in my life over the last many years would turn back to the scriptures and I would confess His word back to Him and stand on those promises. I would personally activate those in my life. And in doing that, hope stayed alive. And it's interesting, as I read back through my journals over the last several years, and I'll periodically go back and do that, I see a change that has taken place in me in my life. Very different from when I was in my 30s or in my 40s, the first part of my 40s especially. When things would be tough or go south or whatever, I was filled with a lot of angst. I had a lot of worry. Many times I was just really, just to be very honest, he already knows, there's no surprise to him, I'd be very angry at God that things weren't happening like I wanted them to happen. Um, and it was there was no joy in the waiting. There was no confidence in the waiting because I was really just wishing God would do something. But now, over the years, as I have feasted on His promises and confessed His word, now I find myself hoping for things. I have an absolute confidence He is going to come through. And sometimes there's even an excitement added to it. I wonder how He's going to do it this time. So it's up to us to keep hope alive as we wait for Him to come through, because He always does. So that's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to share with you is simply this. This is so cool. This is down in verse 23 and 24. Good morning, Denzel and Jerry. And good morning to the rest of you who are watching too. I can see how many people are watching, but I don't know who unless you actually come on and say hello. So, which is always great, by the way. It's always good to know. Verse 23 and 24, let me read these to you. The steps of the God-pursuing ones. So the steps of those who are really going hard after God. They follow firmly in the footsteps of the Lord. And God delights in every step they take to follow Him. I'm going to read the next verse in a second. That spoke to me so strongly because the God-pursuing ones, they follow firmly in the footsteps of the Lord. So I've had 3 kids, and now I've got 6 grandkids, and so I've watched a lot of kids in my life over the last 30 years do this. They will come along sometimes and they will walk in my footsteps. I've seen them do it sometimes in the snow and stuff like that, but even just in the yard or even in the house, they'll kind of walk along. And I especially love it. You know how kids are, they hit this age where they want to put on, big person shoes, and they'll kind of stomp along, behind you, and they'll try to walk with you. And when they do that, it says God delights in every step they take to follow Him. I do. And just yesterday morning, with Conrad just being born, and Caleb had to go back to work. He didn't have very long at home with Ariana to help out. And so yesterday morning, he goes in pretty early, and we said, well, look, drop the older girls off at our house. And hi, Laura, this is Psalm 37. And so drop the kids off at our house, and we'll watch them for a while before we have to head into work and give Ariana a chance to sleep in a little, catch up with some rest. So they dropped them off. So I go out to the car to get them. And as we're walking across the lawn, Eleanor, and if you don't know Eleanor is about to turn 2 in a month or so. And as we're walking across the lawn, she is looking down at my feet, and she's trying to match my steps. Just naturally. It's just natural with a child. And the reason for that is because right now, Grandpa is like her favorite. Now, I'm not over her mom and dad, I'm sure, but she's a Grandpa's girl all the way. Claire runs in the house. She wants to know where Honey is. Eleanor comes in the house. She wants to know where Grandpa is. She's my girl. And so she's following me just because she adores me. So that's the picture right here. The steps of the God pursuing ones, they follow firmly in the footsteps of the Lord. Where he goes, they're going because they're following him, right? So wherever he goes, they're naturally going to go. And God delights in every step they take to follow him. I can't put into words how happy it made me to see her try to walk the way I was walking. It just this irrational, crazy joy came over me to see my girl trying to walk like Grandpa. And as I read that this morning, the Lord just nudged me on that. He said, "That's how I feel about you, bud. That's how I feel about you. I just love to see you trying to follow me. It makes me so happy." And I love that. And that was a beautiful thing. But then almost instantly, I had this next thing happen. I'm like, man, but I do it so badly. So then I read the next verse. Now check this out. If they stumble badly, not just if they stumble a little, if they stumble badly, they will survive, for the Lord lifts them up with his hands. And again, immediately was the picture. So many times I've had a child walking beside me. Sometimes I'm holding their hand, sometimes I'm not. But they'll stumble, and I instantly reach down and grab them before they can fall and pick them back up. I don't get angry at them. I'm not upset with them at all. It didn't ruin the moment for me in the least. And we just keep on walking. And the Lord just reminded me, he said, "Jim, I know you'll stumble badly. You won't just stumble, you'll stumble badly. There will be times in trying to walk after me, you are just going to go down. But don't worry. I'm going to catch you. I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to get you back on track every time. And it will not have ruined the moment for me." I wish I could put in words what I'm feeling in my spirit right now about that. So often in my life, this morning, I realized this. So often in my life, I've had a season with God, a moment, if you will, where we've been walking and he's been enjoying it like crazy just to see me follow him. He just loves it. Like I do see my granddaughter do that with me. And then I would stumble. And for me, it ruined the moment. And I went, oh, shoot, I can't believe what's wrong with me. And sometimes for hours, sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks, I would be in this low place. And the whole time he's like, dude, I just ready to pick you up and we'll keep going. It didn't ruin the moment for me. Oh, what an awesome God we have. What an amazing father heart he has. So I hope that's an encouragement for you this morning. I don't know if there's some place where you feel like, man, I just can't get this walk right. I can't get this down. And you're getting down all over yourself about it. And of course, the enemy piles on in those moments like crazy. If that's the case, just go back to this, would you? I'm reading it out of the Passion Translation. It's a beautiful translation. And let the Lord just reaffirm over you, it didn't ruin it for me. I never expected perfection out of you. Just keep on pursuing me. I'll keep catching, and we're going to go places. And oh, by the way, over time, you'll grow to where you walk better. But it's okay. I got you. And enjoy your moments with him. Even when you stumble, enjoy your moments with him, because it didn't ruin it for him. Anyway, I hope that blesses you, and hope you have a wonderful day. Look forward to, of course, we've got a 10 o'clock prayer service this morning on site at church, but then we've got prayer service this evening at 7 p.m. online, and I hope you'll be able to join us for that, and hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, everybody. Be blessed.